everyone, Kelly here, and today I just wanted to do a video where I kind of give you a bit of a life update and tell you how my channel and the way I do my reading is going to change for the rest of this year and probably for the whole school year. So what's going on is that with all of the COVID stuff and everything going on, we have decided to homeschool my daughter, who is going into kindergarten. And I've never done homeschooling before. This is new to me. And so the last few weeks have just been me frantically like putting together curriculum, doing all that. And so I just really haven't had any chance to read. And I'm just thinking about the fact that for the next 9 months, you know, it's kind of like a full-time job. I'm going to be teaching my kids, because I'll also be doing kind of like a preschool program with my younger daughter, just to kind of like give her something to do while I'm homeschooling Bernadette. So it's going to be just a lot of stuff going on during the day. I'll be doing research for those things, and it's just a lot more happening in my life day to day, so I won't have as much time to focus on reading. And not to say that I'm going to be giving up reading, because obviously it's one of my favorite hobbies. I just think I'll be reading less during the month, which wouldn't be a problem or anything like that. I just want to let you know that there will probably be less videos coming from me. I'm going to try to commit to still doing one video at least a week, because I'll still be reading some books and I want to tell you about them. But one of the things I'm definitely going to give up for the rest of this school year probably is TBRs. And part of the reason of that is that I just don't want to put any pressure on myself when I'm getting used to this new schedule and all that. I just don't want to put any more like things I have to do on the list. And I want to have reading to be kind of my escape. And I still want to be part of this community and really enjoy that as kind of like my fun thing. Not that homeschooling will be fun, but I'm just saying I want to have something that is just pure enjoyment and me getting to read for fun, pick up whatever I feel like reading at the moment. So I don't plan on doing any TBRs month by month. And so the thing with that is that I had going on this whole year doing my Keep Read Unhaul, where I had you vote on some books that I had bought 2 years previously and tell me which ones I should keep, read, or unhaul. And I was also doing a scratch off. So I'm not going to be doing those anymore. So today I'm just going to have you guys vote on all of the books for the rest of that project, and basically you're going to be picking out 5 books for me to finish sometime before the end of the year. And since we still have September, October, November, December, we still have 4 months left, I don't think that will be stressful to me. I also have some of the books I was behind on because I had fallen behind on those projects, so those will just be kind of my TBR for the rest of the year. And then that's the only TBR I will be making through this whole school year, unless I can figure out that my schedule is better than I thought. So for at least now, for the rest of 2020, there will be no TBR. So the way I do this is, let's start with my scratch off. So in case you're new here, I've been doing this scratch off that I made, which this was a really fun project, so I don't regret doing this. I might use a scratch off for something in homeschooling or whatever. This was definitely fun doing my own scratch off. And so I still had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books left. So of those 8 books, I picked 4 that I was most interested in. The other 4 I'm considering just getting rid of. So these are ones that, of the 8 that were left, I'm pretty interested, but I also could be swayed to just get rid of them as well. So you guys can tell me which one of these you want me to read, and then I might be also getting rid of some of them that get the lowest amount of votes. So the first one is one that a lot of people have heard of, and that's Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. And I've had this one probably the longest of all the books I own and haven't gotten around to it. And so that makes me think that maybe I'm never going to get around to this book, because I've owned it for probably, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. It's been a long time. So that's one you can vote for. This is historical fiction. And then another historical fiction, and this is probably why I've had these for so long, is that it's just not my chosen genre. This is Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly, and this was given to me by my mom, and she said she really enjoyed it. And this is, I believe, a World War II story. Maybe. Seems like it might be around that time. Yeah, it says Nazi concentration camp, the lives of 3 women that come together through this concentration camp. So I'm assuming that this one will be sad, but also hopeful. A lot of World War II stories are like that. And then I have a fantasy, Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. And I don't know much about this at all. It takes place in a desert nation. But yeah, I've seen this around book 2, but I actually haven't heard much about the plot at all. So if you read this, let me know, or you can vote for it. And then the last one is a book I just picked up because I had heard of the author, and I think it's a thriller called The Survivors Club by Gardner. And I'm just pretty sure Gardner writes a lot of thrillers, and I just hadn't read any of her books, so I picked it up at a library sale. So yeah, those are the 4 books you can choose from: 2 historical fictions, a fantasy, or a thriller. And I'm just going to create a survey monkey and put it in my description box so you can vote on which one of these from my scratch off that you want me to read sometime in 2020. And if there's any that you've read, let me know your feelings about them, because I'm really considering possibly getting rid of all the ones you don't vote for. So if there's ones that you're like, definitely keep this one, put it down in the comments. And then in terms of my keep, read, unhaul, I had quite a few books since it was for like September through December. All the books I had bought from those months 2 years ago. And so I just split them into 4 categories of 4 books to vote for. And then there was probably, I think, still 10 books that I didn't put in this category. And either they were part of a series, so I didn't see any reason to put them in, or they're ones I know I want to get to. So like I had Anna Karenina, and I'm not going to commit to reading that giant book in 2020. So I just put that to the side. So these are categorized mainly by genre. So first I had 4 thrillers that I'll have you vote for. The first one is The Dry by Jane Harper. And this one I think takes place in Australia. And that is why I had gotten it, because I never read a thriller that takes place in Australia. So I thought that was interesting. And I think it's about an FBI agent that ends up going back to his hometown to solve a crime that is happening, and he hasn't been back home for a long time. I think it's like a childhood friend or something like that is killed. I don't know. But I've heard that Jane Harper's books are really popular. I think this series is a series, and I think that she's already on book 3 or something like that. So let me know if you want me to read that one. And then I have The Secret She Keeps by Michael Robotham. And sorry, I don't know a lot about these, so sometimes I have to be reminded. I think this is just like a domestic thriller. Megan has it all: 2 adorable children, a handsome and successful husband, happy marriage, blah, blah, blah. And then Agatha is, I think, jealous of Megan and her perfect life. So I think this will be a domestic thriller about women and the secrets they keep. And then I have The Couple Next Door by Sherry LaPena. And I had read another book by her and really didn't like it. And so then it kind of put me off reading this one. But then I've had a couple people say they really enjoyed this one. So, and it's pretty short. So if you vote for it, I'll read it. If it gets the lowest amount of votes, I'll probably get rid of it. So if you really like this author and you want me to give her another chance, vote for that one. And then the last one is The Child by Fiona Barton. This is part of a series, and I actually think this is book 2, but from what I had saw, book 1 gets low ratings, and they said that you don't have to read them as a series because it's kind of like just one of those series that has the same detective, but the plots don't really interact with each other. But I believe this one's about a missing child, which is why it's called The Child. And it takes place in London, so this is a British mystery. So yeah, you can pick one of those thrillers in the survey down below for me to try out before the end of the year. I have 4 middle grade, and these middle grade ones are a variety of genres. I have one that's a contemporary, A Mango-Shaped Space by Wendy Moss, and I just don't get around to reading very many middle grade contemporaries, so that's why this one has just sat on my bookshelf for 2 years. And this is about a girl who has what's it called? It doesn't say it on the back, but synesthesia, where she can, sounds and numbers and words have color for her. So that's that book. And then I have a sci-fi. This is the beginning of a series called Last Day on Mars by Kevin Emerson. And this one seemed really interesting. For some reason, I haven't picked it up, but it just seems like these kids are part of the last... So Earth has already been abandoned, and they've been living on Mars, and now they're about to abandon Mars to move to the next colony for humans, and these kids are in kind of the last group that is on Mars, and they find out a secret about why they're leaving and all that. So it sounds really interesting. I just haven't picked it up yet. And then I have a prequel to a book I really like. This is Lost Kingdom of Amar by Gail, Carson, Levine. I really liked The Two Princesses of Amar, and it's like one of those things where I don't always like prequels, so I'm afraid to pick this one up because it's a prequel, but I've heard good things about it, so maybe I just need the extra push. So vote for this if you want this as a fantasy book. And then one more middle grade fantasy, The Castle Behind Thorns by Mary Haskell. And there's no reason why I haven't picked this one up because I liked the last book that I read by her, which of course I can't remember what that book was called. But so there's no reason why I shouldn't enjoy this one. I think this is about a boy who wakes up alone in a long abandoned castle and has no idea how he got there. So I think it'll be a fun like adventure fantasy. So those are the 4 middle grade books that you can choose one of those for me to read. And then I have 4 that are like a mix of fantasy, speculative fiction, sci-fi kind of things. And so I think all of these have been talked a lot about on BookTube, and for some reason I haven't picked them up. I have Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge, and this is, I believe, a Beauty and the Beast retelling that's kind of like more darker. Yeah, based on the classic fairy tale Beauty and the Beast. And this one gets really mixed reviews, and I think that's part of why I haven't picked it up. But some people that I know and follow on BookTube like really enjoy it, so I should at least give it a try if you want me to. And then this is obviously one that everybody knows about, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. And the only reason I haven't picked this one up yet is because I know the topic is going to be pretty serious, and I just haven't been in the mood for that. But sometimes I need a little push because I think it's going to be a good read, an insightful read. I just haven't got around to it, and especially now that she's written a sequel to it, I should probably pick that up. And then I have a fantasy book that is part of a series, The Queen of Atolia by Megan Wallin Turner. And I had read The Thief a year or so ago, probably 2 years ago, because I probably read it right before I bought this. And I didn't love The Thief, but I've heard that the series just gets better and better, that The Thief is more like a prequel and isn't really necessarily directly what this part of the series is about, and that the series is a lot more rich than The Thief was, because The Thief was a pretty short book. So yeah, I think this is kind of a political fantasy series, and I think it has 4 books in it. And I own all the books, and I bought them all at the same time, so I should probably get around to seeing if I even like that series. And the last one in this group is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and I've been meaning to read this book. I just feel like that's the thing I say about all these. It's a problem with being a mood reader, and so I just need a little push for some of these. And this is a sci-fi or speculative fiction about a woman who ends up time traveling. She's modern day, and in modern day in this book is in the 70s, and she ends up being sent back to the antebellum South, which is a bit of a problem since she is a Black woman. And so she goes back and forth in time and trying to figure out why she's being sent back there. And so those are the 4 fantasy, sci-fi, speculative fiction books that you can choose for me. And then I have one more category of contemporary, and some of these are adult and some are YA. So let's start with the YA. I have The Anatomical Shape of the Heart by Jen Bennett, and I bought this because I've read all of Jen Bennett's other books, and so I thought I should read her backlist. But I've heard kind of mixed things about this one. This is about a young girl who is doing a like internship. I think she's doing it like at a morgue or something like that. Like she draws pictures of dead people. It doesn't even say that on the back, but I thought that's what I heard somebody else say. I don't know, but I think it's also a love story. So vote for that one if you want. I don't know much about it. And then I have The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone. And this is a contemporary about a young woman whose grandmother is dying. And so her whole family ends up going on this cruise. It's kind of like a how to tie up loose ends. Like, you know, kind of a last bucket list moment for grandma before she passes away, and a time for the family to be together. So this one I probably haven't picked up because it's probably going to be a little sad. But hopefully heartwarming and hopeful at the same time, family story. And then I have Tell the Wolves I'm Home. I couldn't see the author's name in there. Carol Rifka Brunt. And I don't fully know about this. I've heard a couple people talk about this, but it seems to be a little more literary fiction. And this is about a young girl who is close to her uncle, and I think her uncle passes away. And so then she finds out some kind of secrets about her uncle's life and all that stuff that she didn't know about before he passed away. So this will be a family drama. And the last one is a bit of a classic. Like, I think it was written in the 70s maybe? I don't actually know. Maybe I should show you the book, but it was written in the 40s. I was off. So yeah, a classic. Carson McCullers wrote The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, and I've heard good things about this, and that it's, you know, a drama that has a lot of things that it makes it a tearjerker and stuff like that. It takes place in a small southern town, I believe, and it's just kind of a like snippet of life in this town and following all the characters that sit around one person. Of course, it doesn't say that on the back. I looked it up, and I think it was about this like one man and everybody in his life, like kind of talking about him and like what's going on in this small town. So I feel like this will be also a drama. So all these might be a bit on the dramatic side, which is why I haven't picked them up probably. So you could vote for one of those. So those are the 5 categories. I'll have the Survey Monkey in the description. So that would be just 5 books that I am committing to reading over 4 months. I think that'll be okay. I'm not going to stress about it. If there's any of these you read and you really didn't like, let me know, because I'm looking to unhaul some books to kind of free some space up, because that was part of why I did this project. So yeah, that is kind of my life update, that I will not be doing TBRs anymore. This is kind of the last TBR of the year, and that might continue through the entire school year into, you know, the summer. And hopefully by then things will be better in the world, and then hopefully she'll be able to go to 1st grade next year and I can figure out what we're doing next. Yeah, so that's it for me. I would love to hear from you down below if you've read any of these and you want to talk about them more, and I will see you next time. Bye.